Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the webinar, Unlock the Next Gen Banking Experience with Business Central with Yavrio. My name is Tony Stones, and I work within the business development team for Enhance, and I'll be acting as the moderator for today's presentation. I'm joined by my colleague Charlotte Juan, who is the Partner Success Manager for Yavrio. Before I hand over to Charlotte, I'd like to go over a few simple housekeeping items. We expect the webinar to last approximately 60 minutes. Please note that the webinar is actually being recorded and it will be available to view on demand. More about that later in the session. All participants are set to listen only and will remain so for the duration of the webinar. If you have a question, you can click the Q&A buttons at the top and type your question in there. We will actually pick them up as and when we finish the session. So just keep an eye on there. We'll be monitoring them during the session for you. And finally, obviously, if you've got any questions, just make sure that obviously you put them in there for us. So we can cover them at the end of the session.
So we can make a start.
With that, I'd like to hand you over to our presenter, Charlotte Juan.
Thank you, Tony, for the introduction. Good morning, everyone. I'm Charlotte from Yavrio, working as Partner Success Manager. Today, I'm very excited and honored to be invited by Enhance to present you the unlock the next-gen banking experience with Yavrio, with you all together. So this will be today's agenda. Firstly, I will be talking about what is Yavrio, who's Yavrio. And the second part, I will then move on to why Yavrio. And in the end, I will wrap it up with Yavrio's solution overview, along with a live demo and Q&A. So let's get started. Okay, about Yavrio. So firstly, let me quickly tell you how Yavrio started. So we are proud to say we are fixing the #1 pain point experienced by BC finance teams. So basically, our CEO, John Lewis, he used to be a Business Central consultant. And so often he got asked this question by his customers. So how do I connect to my bank account onto Business Central? So in the beginning, he will reach out to multiple different banks and try to speak to the Treasury API team and try to connect to individual banks individually. And then one day he thought, wait, why don't I just build a solution that we can integrate with multiple bank accounts using Open Banking API? So that's the point that Yavrio was born. And right now we have more than 100 existing customers that are actively using Yavrio's solution. So in a short sentence, Yavrio is an add-on solution for Business Central for bank integration using Open Banking API. So, okay, now we know about Yavrio. So why Yavrio? So often we have this slogan that we usually say, which is life in 7. You might think, is it 7 years, 7 months, 7 days? No, it's 7 minutes, because our implementation is very easy and straightforward. So once you've enabled the open banking permission within your banking portal, from installing Yavrio to registering Yavrio to connect to your bank account, it typically would take roughly around a few minutes, which is roughly around 7 minutes. So we are proud to say it's quite an easy implementation. And right now we can connect to 10,000 bank accounts across the UK, EU, and the USA. So which is why we have the global open banking coverage as well. So in terms of Yavrio solution overview, we not only do bank fees, bank integration for importing bank statement lines, we also do payments as well. Typically, in the UK, we can support faster payments, BACS payments, and international payments. So for the embedded multi-payment rails, as I mentioned, there will be faster payments, BACS payments, and international payments. So as mentioned earlier, we can connect to 10,000 bank accounts across the UK, EU, and the USA. So of course, for the top 5 bank institutions in the UK, such as Barclays, Lloyds, NatWest, Santander, and HSBC, we can for sure connect to all of those bank institutions to help you import bank statement lines into Business Central. But in terms of the payment functionality, for the faster payments, as we use open banking API, different banks, they have different adoptions to open banking. So there will be a few limitations here, which is why BACS payment functionality became the top popular options for most of our customers, because there's no limitation of how many payments you can send in one go. In the end, Yavrio also works with xe.com to have this joint proposition to enable you to send international payments from Business Central. So when I say we have this joint proposition, it's not just a traditional partnership between two companies. I refer you some deals, you refer me some deals. It's not just like that. So for international payments functionality, when the customer hits pay with xe and agreed with the exchange rate, you can also use Yavrio's open banking solution to release the funds directly from your banking portal to xe.com to process international payments. So that's the overview of Yavrio. I think the easiest way would be to just show you a live demo so that you know what it looks like within Business Central. So I will stop sharing this screen for now and share my PC. Okay, now we are on the Business Central page. So as mentioned earlier, if you've already download Yavrio, register Yavrio, enable open banking permission within your banking portal, you can then start to connect to your bank account by clicking on bank account. And then click on bank statement service, connect bank account. So firstly, select the country. The country will be basically where your banking institution is based. So for example, if you bank with NatWest UK, then you will input the country code GB for United Kingdom. What will happen in the next is when I click on OK, it will then give you an institution list that's available within the UK. So as you can see, like I mentioned earlier, you can connect to Barclays, Corporate, Business, Bank of Scotland, or you can just directly search your bank institution. So for today's demo, I'm just going to connect to my NatWest Sandbox account. So simply select NatWest Sandbox account. It will then give you a QR code or a link for you to click, so then you can log in into your banking portal and link that specific bank account back to the Business Central. Just a bit more information to cover here about FCA authorization. So when connecting your bank account or sending payments from Business Central using Yavrio, you may see the word Yaply Connect floating around. So essentially, Yaply is our API partner that we use to facilitate the bank connection. Okay, so now let's come back to the stage to connect to the bank account. I'm just going to click on the link. So as you can see, it takes you to a separate tab, which means we don't store your login credentials. So simply input your customer number and the PIN and the password to log in into your banking portal. So within my banking portal, I currently have 2 bank accounts. And as you can see, one of them is very wealthy and healthy. So for example, if you have 10 bank accounts all within the same NatWest bank line, for example, if you like, you can connect to 10 of the bank accounts all together. Or if you just want to connect to 2 of them, 3 of them, 4 of them, you can just select the specific bank accounts that you wish to connect to. So I'm just going to connect to 1 bank account for today. So let me confirm access for 1 account. So once the authentication is successful, then the tab will disappear and bring you back to Business Central. So what I'm doing here is I'm directing my NatWest Sandbox account back to the bank account card that I already set up within Business Central, which is second one. This is my bank account card. Okay. So when I click on Save and then leave the institution list, when I click onto that specific NatWest bank account card, I will then be able to see Yavrio will then appear here, and it's already connected to the bank institution. And then on the right-hand side, you can also view your online bank balance. It includes any settled and unsettled transactions. And there's a job queue that's running every hour to show you to update you the live balance. Okay. So that's basically how you connect to the bank accounts. Just click on bank accounts, bank statement service, and then logging, link them back, which is why we have that slogan, Life in 7. Everything is embedded into Business Central. I believe it's all quite straightforward. But just there's one more thing I would like to emphasize here, which is about the consent token. So in the UK, due to FCA regulation, after 90 days, you will receive a pop-up message, a notification to remind you to extend your consent token for the bank connection for another 90 days. And then every 180 days, you will have to reconnect to your bank account. So what I mean by reconnecting to your bank account, that means simply click on bank statement service, connect bank accounts, login, and then direct them back to the bank account card. That's the process that you will have to do every 180 days due to FCA regulation, also for the security purpose. Okay. So now now we already have the bank accounts connected. I'm going to take you to the reconciliation page to show you how it looks like with Yavrio's solution. So firstly, let me take you to the bank account reconciliations page. And I'm going to introduce you to this Yavrio button, which is Auto Run All Bank Recs. So if I click on Auto Run All Bank Recs, I can even enable show date formulas to automatically import bank statement lines in on a daily basis if I put D behind, or on a weekly basis if I change it to W, or on a monthly basis if I change it to M. Okay, so let's say I leave it by default to bring my transactions in on a daily basis. In the meantime, I also enable Apply Automatically button. So essentially, this Apply Automatically button is the BC button, Business Central button, that we put one here as well. So it's the same button when you are doing your reconciliation, when you click on matching, and then match automatically. They are the same button here. And then I just need to set the tolerance days, for example, 30 days. What does that mean? That means next day when I go into the office, as there's a show date formulas is already enabled. That means next day when I go into the office, all of my transactions will be automatically brought in into Business Central. In the meantime, if I already have some bank account ledger entries, then BC will then automatically match your existing bank account ledger entries against the bank statement lines that you brought in using Yavrio's open banking solution. So this is one of the methods that you could just do your whole reconciliation quite automatically. Now, I'm going to show you if you still prefer to do it a bit semi-automatically by looking at some specific transactions, you could do that as well. So let's bring the transactions from Monday to Tuesday, which is 21st to 22nd, and let's create new reconciliation. Looks like I have quite a lot of transactions. Okay, cool. So when I click here, I will then be able to see all of the transactions from 21st of October to 22nd of October. There's quite a lot. No wonder it took so long. Will then appear under the bank statement lines. Okay, so one scenario here I'm not too sure if it ever happened to you before, but let's say when you are doing your reconciliation, what if you somehow accidentally deleted one of the transactions lines? Don't worry, Yavrio got you covered. So if you quickly make a note of the first transaction line, which is the transaction date on 21st of October, description with pay reference, and the value with £100. With Yavrio's solution, we can help you to bring that specific transaction back into BC without duplicating the transactions. And I'm going to show you what it looks like. Okay, so let's say I'll go ahead and delete this line. What I can do with Yavrio's solution, simply click on bank and then get transactions from bank. And then just select the same day range, which is from 21st to 22nd, and just add to existing reconciliation. So when I scroll down all the way down to the bottom, I will then be able to see that transaction on 21st of October. Description with pay reference and the value with £100 will then appear again under the bank statement lines. So for the following process, you will then follow through the standard BC functionality by clicking on matching. And you can either, again, match automatically or match manually or even reconcile with Copilot. So what Yavrio do here is we help you bring the transactions in a more efficient and also secure way. Efficient because you can either set a sort of like job queue thing to automatically bring the transactions in, or you can do it by selecting a specific day range. And securely is in this way, you will no longer need to use any CSV files. So you don't have to download the bank statement lines, download the bank statement and then upload into BC anymore. Okay, so that's on the bank account reconciliations page. The same functionality, we also have it on the payment reconciliation journals. Yep. So you will be able to find the same button, auto run or bank recs. So again, you can either enable those two buttons to automatically bring the transactions in, or select a specific day range to bring the transactions in. But essentially, it's the same process, so I wouldn't repeat it again. Okay, so now let's move on to the payment journals, and I will show you how to send a payment out without using any payment files. Okay, now I'm on the payment journals here, and I already, for this demo purpose, I already prepared two payments here that I'm about to send to two different vendors. So to send the payments directly to your bank, simply head to bank, and you will find a few different buttons here. The first one is send payments to bank. The second one is pay with BACS. Okay, so before you hit those buttons, just make sure the balance account type is set to be bank account. And balance account number is the one that you already connected to your Business Central. Okay, so as mentioned earlier, we support, in the UK, we support faster payments, BACS payments, and international payments. So firstly, let me show you how to send the faster payment out. So to send a faster payment out, simply click on Send Payment to Bank. And as for this case, as mentioned earlier, for open banking faster payments, there are some limitations. Depends on which bank institution you bank with. So for example, if you bank with HSBC or if you bank with HSBC and Santander, they can send those payments in one go. So you can actually send bulk faster payments. But just today, I'm using the NatWest sandbox, so which is why this message is telling me that those payments will be sent in one go. Okay, so let me click on yes to continue. And as we don't store your login credentials, so simply use the QR code or the link to log in into your portal. So within your portal, it will then show you directly from the information from the payment journals about which bank accounts you are sending the money from and which vendor you are paying to. So if you click on confirm payment, so once the authentication is successful, then again, the tab will disappear and bring you back to BC. So for this case, I will have to click on proceed to the next. But for some specific bank institutions, they will be able to send the bulk faster payments in one go. Okay. And I'm going to quickly show you the difference here under the payment status in terms of sending the difference between sending faster payments and sending backs. So when I hit send payments to bank, those payments will be sent by faster payments, which is why under the payment status, it will then show you it's completed. And the payment method will be via bank transfer. Okay, so let me quickly reset the payment and I'm going to show you how to send backs payments. Okay, so if I reset the payments, it will always give you this pop-up message. You risk sending duplicate payment. Do you want to continue? As I'm just doing the demo, so I will click on yes to continue. So the second button here, if you wish to send backs payments, then click on pay with backs. But just there will be a little bit more pre-setup to do, which is we will give you the bureau service user number from our bureau partner for you to request your bank to connect your service user number to our bureau service user number. So just a little bit more pre-setup to do before we embed pay with backs button within your BC environment. Okay, but as it's a more popular option, so this is actually quite a lot of customers, they wouldn't mind doing this one little more process. Okay, so if I click on pay with backs, as the backs is the Yavrio backs API, it's not via open banking, so there's no limitation. So as you can see, you can send as many payments in one go. And for this case, it will then group those two payments in one go. It will show you the total value and the total lines you are about to send. Okay, so if I click on yes to proceed with this backs payment, okay, so you can see the difference here under the payment status, different from faster payment. It will then show you it's awaiting authorization, and the payment method will be via backs. Okay, so what happened next? I will just need to go into my email inbox, and then I will receive an email from no reply at Yavrio. So when you hit no reply at Yavrio, you will then see this email that's telling you the total amounts that you need to authorize before send the payment out. So if I click on review payments, simply log in using your Microsoft account. And it will take you straight to the payments that you were about to send from the payment journals, which is that £800. Before you authorize the payments, you will be able to view the payment details again, including which vendors you are paying to and the breakdown of the transactions, the payments. And on the top, you can also view the payment summary, including which bank account you are sending it from. Okay, so if I authorize this payment, again, for the security purpose, you would also have the Authenticator app that's linked to your Microsoft account. So when I authorize the payment, under the authorization logs, it will then show me the payment was authorized by this person at this time on this day. Okay, so now we've finished the authorization process. Now we can then come back to the payment journals page. So when I click on get payment status, I will then be able to see, it will then show me it's pending and it's via backs. And the reason why it's showing me pending, it's because for backs payments, typically it takes T+2 days for the vendors to receive the funds. So you can see the difference here. So then after T+2 days, when you click on get payment status again, it will then show you it's completed. So that's essentially what it looks like in terms of sending faster payments and BACS payments using Yavrio's solution. Okay, so one more scenario here, just one more. Let me also quickly reset the payments. So let's say I'm the person who's submitting those payment journals, but I actually don't have the access into the company's banking portal, or I need a separate person to authorize those payments. For that, I can use this button, send payments via email auth. So simply you typing the person, for example, it could be the CFO or the FD's email. So then the CFO and FD will then receive an email that's also giving them the QR code and the link to prompt them to logging into the banking portal to approve or authorize the payment. Okay. So now let's come back to the Yavrio's payment authorization portal, and I'm going to cover a little bit more information here. So you might be wondering, what is this Yavrio payment authorization portal? And also, who received those emails from no reply at Yavrio? So first answer here, who will receive, first question here, who will receive those emails from no reply at Yavrio? So it's whoever we set up within Yavrio's payment authorization portal. So now if I head to Yavrio's payment authorization portal, and I'm going to take you to the user management page. So it's whoever we set up here will receive the no reply at Yavrio email. Okay, so during the onboarding call, typically we would ask, who would you like us to set up as the first authorizer within Yavrio's payment authorization portal for BACS payment authorization? So let's say if I set myself typically, you won't be able to set yourself, but let's say one example here, I set Charlotte as the first authorizer. So of course, Charlotte would have the admin account to create more new users. So for example, if I set David as one of the authorizers, and what I need to do is I would just need to input David's email. And for example, if I set David's role as user, and the maximum authorization value to 10K. What does that mean? That means David, as an user account, he wouldn't have access into the user management page. And that also means he wouldn't be able to authorize the payments that's above 10K. Also, on the top, you can set how many authorizers are required to approve those payments. So by default, if you leave it one person is required, then on the payment page, under the approval progress, it will then show you it's 0/1. But if I do come back to the user management page and I set 2 authorizers are required and I hit update, I can show you one of the examples here. So under if you set 2 authorizers are required, under the approval progress, it will then show you it's 0/2. So if I click on view, again, you can see the breakdown of the payment details and the current payment summary that's showing you it's currently under partial authorization. So we are waiting for a second person to authorize the payment. In the meantime, you can also track to see who authorized the payment already. So as you can see here, it was Jonathan, and we are still waiting for the second person to authorize it. Okay, so now let's come back to the BC. So I've already covered faster payments, BACS payments, and also how to send payments via email auth. In terms of international payments, we work with xe.com. So there will be another button here, which is Pay with Xe. So also, I think I pretty much cover the basic concept here. You will then be able to use the joint proposition using Yavrio's open banking API to release the funds directly from your banking portal, which in this case will be my Sandbox NetWest Sandbox account, to release the funds for Xe to process your international payments. But essentially, that's what it all looks like. So for Yavrio's bank coverage, feel free to check on our website. So simply type into, for example, HSBC, you can view what type of HSBC accounts that we can connect to, including HSBC Business, HSBC Net. And you can also view what countries that we can cover, or you can filter it by country. So that's pretty much about everything. I will reshare the presentation slide again. And Q&A session. Any questions here?
Yeah, Jenny, I can't see any Q&A questions. Can you?
No.
Okay, that's fine. All right. No, you've got a flight today, Charlotte. Thank you very much for that. If you could just pop on to the next slide. I think we've got some dates that we'd like to show you with regards to up and coming events for those of you who have attended. Thanks very much for that. So you can see that we've got our next webinar is on the 30th of October for Extend Smart List Builder across all apps with PopDoc, if you'd like to have a look at that. And then obviously we've got some events that are coming up that are going to be fairly key. Quite a busy November going on with regards to things that are specialised, in particular obviously directions and the Hospices UK and Air Ambulances events. And then obviously we've got the Finance Festive Customer Roundtable, and then the not-for-profit Festive Customer Roundtable for those of you that are interested in attending that. But I think that's pretty much it from myself and Charlotte. And obviously, to conclude the session, I'd like to thank you all for joining us. Keep a lookout in your inbox. As said at the very beginning, the session has been recorded, so we will send you a link to today's recording in your inbox, so make sure it doesn't go into spam. Please feel happy to share that amongst any of your colleagues who couldn't get here today but would be interested in the information in the content. Once again, thank you for joining us and have a great day. Thank you, Charlotte.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Tony. Have a good day, everyone.